Hey Pascal, this is Panther Nation. I'm Connor Hibbett.
And I'm Gage.
And we're going to give you a little bit of info for this upcoming week and weekend. Pascal football plays against Mansfield. They're playing at Mansfield Friday night, 7:30. Hope you can make it. Should be a pretty good game. I'm pulling for Pascal all the way through, no matter what their season turns into. Give you a little stats on the game. Mansfield beat Mansfield Summit earlier this year, first game of the season, 26-6, so 3 touchdowns, and we ended up losing to Mansfield Summit 45-0. So we'll see how that game turns out. I like Coach Miracle a lot. He's a really cool guy. A lot of the coaches are really good, so I hope this season really turns out well for Pascal. I love Pascal. They do a lot for me. They're going to keep,
especially academics.
Yeah, they're going to keep my life going. And I hope their season keeps on going in the right direction. That's all we can ask for is improvement.
You know it.
And Pascal Volleyball, they beat second-place Lamar last night, so a great win for them. They played Bowie. And Bowie is 2-11 overall. So hopefully we win this game, or this match. I met Coach Ryman. He seems like a really cool guy. In fact, I'm going to be interviewing him. So you'll hear that on the show, and you'll hear it later in the show, because we're recording this Wednesday afternoon. I'll be interviewing him Thursday morning, so you'll hear it later.
Or in the same show.
In the same show. You'll hear it later in the same show.
All right.
Moving on to Pascal swimming.
Swimmings,
yeah.
His hand. Okay, so when I walked in and I looked at the notes, his handwriting, or just how he wrote it, swimming looked like swimmins.
Yeah, this is the second time this year my handwritings look bad.
Yeah. What was the first one? Utah.
Yeah.
Is it Stanford? Stanford.
And so swimming, they have their first meet Thursday, so tomorrow night at the Wilkinson Grinds Activity Center at 5 o'clock. So if you can make it, that'd be awesome. I believe they have like 5,000 seats there or something like that. So you should be able to go if you want to. I like swimming. It's pretty cool, actually. Literally. Being in the water is pretty cool. But I like a lot of the sport. I mean, I like all sports. I mean, I played golf. I didn't play tennis in a league, but I played it for fun when I was like really, really little.
Yeah, it's the same. I haven't played golf yet, but I have played tennis before.
Golf is really difficult. It looks easy, but it's not.
Fun to play, boring to watch.
Yeah.
I'm sorry if any of y'all play golf and it's watching. This is fun to play, boring to watch.
I agree. It's not the most fun sport to watch, but it's really fun to play. It's so challenging.
I know.
I had an eagle once. For real.
I had a hole-in-one on the Wii version.
Okay, that counts.
It's
the same form.
It's true, but without
the wind.
Well, actually, there is wind in that.
True.
But without all the professionals.
Boy, this past weekend had a lot of interesting college football games.
Oh, did they really?
A lot of upsets. Well, a couple of upsets, and a lot of games potentially could have been upsets.
TCU.
Oh, yeah, TCU.
4-0.
I had Oklahoma State winning that game. That's a long story.
Yeah.
So,
you thought wrong.
I did think wrong. So, good. Congratulations for TCU. And I tell you what, I'm very impressed with Coach Gary Patterson. He gets 3- and 4-star recruits. Doesn't even really get 5-star recruits.
Never.
And he still finds ways to be 9-3, 10-2. In fact, a couple years ago, you guys were 14-1. Gage, what do you think about the Dallas Cowboys this year?
Well, the Dallas Cowboys has been doing pretty well this year. They're currently second in the NFC East behind the Eagles. Their record is 2-1. And tune in Sunday because they're going to be playing the Los Angeles Rams, who are also 2-1. Now I have this matchup predictor here that says the Cowboys will win 71.7%, and the Los Angeles Rams will win.
The likelihood of them winning is 28.1%.
And then Ezekiel Elliott, Dak Prescott, and Jason Witten are doing really well. So far, Dak Prescott is 67 for 107. He has 689 yards for 5 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. Ezekiel Elliott has 55 carries, 192 yards and 1 touchdown. And Jason Witten's doing really well, 18 receptions, 159 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, it's pretty good. We knew the Dallas Cowboys were going to be a good team this year. So we'll see what they do as the season goes along. And I tell you what, as the season goes along, I'm sure we were kind of surprised with Vanderbilt beating K-State a couple weeks ago. And then we were probably also surprised they lost 59-0 and gave up 677 yards to Alabama and only had 3 first downs against Alabama. But the key word there is what I'm saying is Alabama. So you can't compare yourself against Alabama. But I'm sure we were expecting it maybe a 2-3 touchdown game, not
Not a blowout.
No, not a blowout like that. 59-0. Wow.
Yeah.
And they were never even in it. I mean, in the first 5 minutes, it was 7-0, then 14-0. I mean, Alabama was winning 21-0 after the first quarter.
I mean, Alabama's consistent.
Very consistent.
They are very consistent.
Nick Saban, great coach. He won a national championship at LSU. I certainly miss him. But I like Ed Ogeron, too. But it's a process, like Nick Saban's put it. Mm-hmm. It's going to take us a little while to get back up at the top. But we'll see what happens. So speaking of Vanderbilt's at Florida this week. The line's favoring Florida by 10 points. But if you've watched these two teams play the last couple of years, it's been really interesting. In 2015, Florida beat Vanderbilt on not a last-second field goal, but a very late field goal with a couple minutes to go. They ended up winning the game 9-7. Florida actually survived that game. They had 4 turnovers. Vanderbilt had none.
Did they really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, Florida survived in this game. And then the next year, so last year, they won 13-6.
Mm-hmm.
An ugly game. I just remember lots of penalties and lots of just silly mistakes. And Florida ended up winning in a close game. So I think you're probably looking at a similar type game here. I think Vanderbilt will come back. I think they're going to come back very strong. I think Derek Mason, their head coach, will get them prepared, but I don't think they're going to have enough to beat Florida like it's been in the past.
Yeah. So what's going on in the MLB right now?
Major League Baseball. We'll get back to college football. Major League Baseball. Texas Rangers aren't looking too good right now. They're 21 games from first place in their division. But hopefully they get a wild card spot. I mean, I'd love to see them have that 5th and final wild card spot. But we'll see what happens with the Rangers. They lost 12-2 today against Houston. So didn't look too good. But Houston's a good team. We can't compare them against Houston. We can't compare anyone against the best. But what we can do is improve, and hopefully the Rangers get a wild card spot.
Yeah. Speaking of, I'm pretty sure they do have a wild card
Cleveland's
spot.
Been on lately, that's for sure.
I'm pretty sure they do have a. Do that?
No, they have to work their way up.
They do have a wild card spot.
They have to work their way up.
Yeah, true.
But, yeah. So we'll see what happens with the Rangers.
Yes. Back to college football. Maryland at Minnesota this weekend. So I got Florida beating Vanderbilt, guys. By the way, Florida beating Vanderbilt 17-14, and then Maryland at Minnesota. Maryland beat Texas earlier this year, but Texas wasn't ready. There's no way. Their second game though against USC, their defense
or the third game.
Their defense looked phenomenal.
Yeah, exactly. It stepped up. It really did a great job against Sam Darnold. And, a couple of underrated running backs USC has. So watch out for the USC running backs.
Speaking of which, Sam Darnold, I'm pretty sure it's currently number 1 in the Heisman Power Rankings.
Well, he's from Los Angeles. I'm not surprised.
And Baker Mayfield's up there, too.
Yeah, he deserves it. I thought I thought Mason Rudolph would win the Heisman this year, and I still think that. Yeah, I know Oklahoma State lost to TCU, but one loss does not keep you out of the playoff contention, and one loss certainly does not keep one of the better players in the country out of Heisman contention. And I think Mason Rudolph is the best quarterback in the nation. Yeah. You could argue Josh Rosen. Sam Darnold has too many interceptions. So, but we'll keep you posted with that as the season goes along. But for right now, obviously Baker Mayfield's doing a good job, and Sam Darnold's still doing a good job, doing better than LSU's quarterback. And
LSU's more
defense.
Yeah. Than anything.
And then Quentin Flowers for South Florida, who was my preseason top 5 for Heisman, but I don't think he's going to win it simply because he doesn't play the competition like the other guys do. Mm-hmm. So, my prediction's Mason Rudolph. We'll see what happens there. Maryland at Minnesota. I have Minnesota winning this game. I don't think it will be a really close game.
Yeah.
I think you could expect like a 28-14, maybe 31-17 type game. I think it will be 2 touchdowns.
So a low scoring game, kind of
For Maryland. For Maryland, yeah. I'm not impressed with Maryland. They lost to UCF 38-10. And UCF is a team that allows 268 yards per game, while Minnesota is a team who allows 239 yards per game.
Yeah.
So I don't think Maryland will get their offense going a lot in this game.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you're looking at not a blowout, but I think you're looking at a good, comfortable win for Minnesota. And they're playing at home, so that's another thing. And so I don't think Maryland, again, will get their offense going. And I think Minnesota comes away with a win, 31-17.
Yeah. I
So,
can see that.
Yeah. And speaking of another team with a really good defense, how about the Georgia Bulldogs, the way they beat Mississippi State?
Ooh.
Are you expecting that?
No, really. I wasn't.
I believe you and I agreed that Georgia would win that game, right?
I'm pretty sure. Maybe. Who was against Georgia? Yeah.
Georgia, Mississippi State, yeah.
Yeah. Georgia, yeah.
I know I had Georgia winning the game. I didn't have them winning by 28 points, but I did have them winning. Again, which is the most important thing. Georgia at Tennessee. Tennessee doesn't look like a very good team this year.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. But, it's kind of a rival game, but everyone's kind of rivals in the SEC.
True.
So,
yeah.
But Georgia comes away with the win, no problem. You're probably looking at a similar score to what Maryland lost to Minnesota last year, 38-10. So you're probably looking at a 38-10, maybe 31-3 like Mississippi State score.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but the main rivalry is the Iron Bowl.
Oh, yeah.
Auburn
and then, of course,
Alabama.
The last several years has been Alabama-LSU. Because usually the winner of that game, goes on to the SEC championship the last several years.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been Alabama every single year. And
Yeah.
so, look, has been to the championship, except for 2011. 1 year. That's 1 year.
Yeah, 1 year.
1 year. Woohoo!
High five.
1 year, 1 win.
Yeah.
Maybe a second one coming in November. We'll see.
Didn't LSU win it all that year?
No, we lost to Alabama in the national championship game.
Of course,
Yeah, and we were the 2 best teams that year. Alabama didn't deserve to go, but they also did deserve to go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the conference championship that they didn't even. Okay, so I'll give you a little bit of background for that matchup. Alabama didn't even play in the SEC championship game that year.
Who played? Was it
LSU and Georgia.
Georgia.
From the East, yeah. Someone from the West, someone from the East. Alabama didn't even play for the SEC championship. And they lost to LSU. I don't understand why Oklahoma State didn't make the national championship game that year. That was back when we had BCS.
Yeah.
And that whole entire kind of thing there brought up the playoff.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why we have playoffs
In
nowadays.
2011, I'm pretty sure TCU was number 4. What's that?
That was 2010. 2010. The season ended in 2011. Yeah, but
we finished
2010
number 4.
season. You finished number 2 behind Auburn. And then Oregon finished number 3.
Mm-hmm.
Mississippi State at Auburn this coming week. Back to the present year. Mississippi State at Auburn. I think this game's a complete toss-up. You can pick whoever you want, but I'm picking Auburn in this game. 17-14. I'm watching Mississippi State play against Georgia. They did not execute their offensive plays at all. Auburn has a defense that they rely on, like Georgia. They rely on their defense, and I don't think this defense will do as good as Georgia did against Nick Fitzgerald, but I do think that they will shut down this offense of Mississippi State's, and they'll win. Plus, they're playing at home, and I think Auburn wants to kind of get back at their high level that which they had before the season started.
Yeah.
So I think you're looking at a lower scoring game. I'm not impressed with Auburn's offense, and State's defense isn't too bad. So I think you're looking at a lower scoring game.
Same. I agree with you.
What do you think the score is going to be?
Let's see. I'm going with Auburn on this one because Auburn looks like to be the better team.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to go with 21-14.
Okay. Pretty good. I have 17-14, so I agree with you. It could be something like that.
Yeah.
And then this coming week, if you have to pick that one score per week, and this coming week it's Clemson and Virginia Tech. I got Clemson winning this game, even though they didn't look pretty against Boston College. But something interesting that brings up a little bit of a conversation. It's very interesting. They were tied 7-7 going into the fourth quarter. And then they scored 27. The final score was 34-7. And so, you guys are thinking, I'm like, okay, so they won 34-7, but they scored 27 points in the fourth quarter. But if they try to do that against Virginia Tech, it's probably not going to happen because Virginia Tech's a better team. But what that also can tell you is that they're looking ahead to the next week because they weren't prepared to play Boston College, and then at the end they showed them that they were the better team. They just outmanned them. They just manhandled them. They played Clemson football at the end, and they came away with the win. And Dabo Swinney was happy with the way they finished the game. Not happy with the way they did it, but he was happy with the win, which is most important. And they move on to the next week, which will be at Virginia Tech. And so what I'm trying to say here is that TCU did the same thing with SMU and Oklahoma State. They did not look impressive to start that game off. In fact, it took the fourth quarter until they finally ran away with it. But it's because they were looking ahead to Oklahoma State. And what was the result of that game? A 2-touchdown win?
Yeah. No, it seems like every team in college football is a second half team. Like,
yeah, a lot of teams are.
They don't show up as much in the first half. Mm-hmm. But probably with that.
Well, the coach yelling at them at halftime.
The coach yelling at them. They knew exactly what to do, and that is to get that win.
Yeah, it gets them focused into the game.
It does.
But, and a lot of teams, when they have an easy opponent or an easier opponent than what is coming up, they're usually looking ahead to that next game, especially if it's against the best team or one of the better teams that they're playing, like TCU's case with Oklahoma State, Clemson's case with Virginia Tech, and, again, both of them being on the road in this case. So, congratulations to TCU winning that game again. Yeah. Good job, Patterson, getting your team ready. He does a great job at that.
He does. He's a smart coach.
Very smart. So I see Clemson winning this game by 2 touchdowns, 24-10.
You see that?
I think Virginia Tech's defense will give them fits, but not a lot, not as much as what Clemson's defense will do to them. I'm not impressed with Virginia Tech's passing game, so I think you're looking at a 24-10. I think you're looking at a low-scoring game. I think it'll be close throughout the game, but I think Clemson maintains the lead the whole game.
I agree with you in this one. I'm pretty sure Clemson's going to win.
Yeah, I would agree.
That Clemson offense,
they're very good. I agree. Yeah. I mean, they're always top in the top league in the offense. Last year they finished top 10 with yards. Yeah. So,
but I'm gonna have to go with a different score than you.
Okay.
What'd you have?
I had 24-10. Favoring Clemson.
Okay. Pretty sure they're gonna go 38 to maybe 20. I mean,
you could say 21-24 too, but I agree.
I mean, Virginia Tech's not a good team, but you look at the rankings, and they're currently number 12. They're undefeated right now, and so
they
is Clemson.
And they beat West Virginia, who's a really good team this year.
Yeah.
And that's the game I'll get into next week with TCU and West Virginia, guys. TCU, you better watch out. West Virginia's a good team. They have a good quarterback in Will Grier, so just watch out. I'm not saying it's going to be a loss, but it could be a loss. I will look into that more next week.
I would say TCU will be well prepared for this one.
Yeah, I mean, Gary Patterson will get them ready. We've already seen that.
Yeah. I mean, just looking at the Oklahoma State game, Oklahoma State was
ranked 6 when they played it. Yeah.
And TCU was ranked 16.
Yeah.
And look who came out on top.
Right.
Because TCU was probably the most prepared for this game.
Definitely. In fact, I remember the commentators talking throughout the game saying, "Wow, it looks like TCU's got every single play down from Oklahoma State." Mm-hmm. And they slowed down Mason Rudolph in that offense very well. Yeah. They had that one explosive play to James Washington. Mm-hmm. James Washington's just really fast.
Yeah.
Can't do much about that. But they did a very good job throughout the game. I mean, they showed a few times. That TCU secondary had them covered up a lot parts of the game. I mean, Mason Rudolph made some great throws for their touchdowns.
Yeah. With every good team, there's going to be some flaws with them as well. Like TCU, our wide receivers are not doing so good.
One, and a lot of that has to do with a lot of the blocking scheme and Kenny Hill's downfield passing. Yeah, but it's a little bit of both. Quarterback and receiver is not on the same page.
Speaking of Kenny Hill,
I think he does a good job of reading the defense.
No. Just looking at his stats from last year to this year, he improved a lot.
Right, and that's the most important thing, to improve. Uh-huh. And look at TCU. They were below 500, including the bowl game last year that lost to Georgia. Mm-hmm. They were 6-7 last year, and it looks like this year could be headed towards a 9-3, 11-1 type year. We'll see.
Yeah.
So, Oklahoma State at Texas Tech, and Texas Tech's certainly a tougher team at home. Their defense has improved. When's the last time we've heard the word defense at Texas Tech? And they beat Houston, who doesn't look to be that impressive this year.
Without Herman, things are
true.
Slowly declining. I mean, Herman's a really good coach.
He is a really good coach. Look at Texas' improvement.
He brought up Houston. What were they like? They beat Oklahoma. Was it 2 years ago or last year?
Last year.
Last year. They beat Oklahoma, which was a really good win.
And they should have beat them by more than what they did, but
Yeah.
had a fumble on the 1 yard line. They were trying to go with a hurry up offense, which I don't know why. They were on Oklahoma's goal line. Oklahoma, as you could see, with their defense, they were already giving in.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's like, why were they even running a hurry up? It's like, why weren't they running down the clock?
I mean,
There was only a couple minutes left, anyways.
I mean, I guess in Herman's mind, they wanted to tire out the defense even more.
I don't know why he would try to do. I mean, if they get a goal line stand, they get a goal line stand.
Yeah.
Now you're up by 17 or whatever.
Yeah. I can also see that too.
And it certainly runs down the clock. It forces them to use timeouts. And I remember that game. Baker Mayfield looked confused. They had him really well. They had him contained very well, like TCU did against Mason Rudolph.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, Oklahoma State at Texas Tech. I see Oklahoma State coming away with the win. Although Texas Tech did beat Houston, and they did look impressive. I'm not going to lie. They have a very good receiver, by the way, Texas Tech does. So, but I see Oklahoma State coming away with the win, no problem. I don't think Texas Tech is explosive enough without their quarterback this year. So, I think you're looking at a 42-24 game, 42-28.
Yeah, kind of around there. I agree fully on you. Oklahoma State's the better team.
Yeah, they are.
But Texas Tech will prepare.
Yeah, they're tough at
for
home.
this
I'm not
one.
going to lie. They're tough at home.
Just like what happened, was it last year or 2 years ago when we almost lost to them?
Yeah, a couple years ago. You're right. 2 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, when
with a catch in the back of the end zone.
when the fans started
Beautiful play.
Oh yeah, no
Anticipation, and they had Dawson triple covered, and then the ball gets tipped, and I remember Dawson looking back like, oh shoot,
And then here comes Aaron Green just
for the touchdown.
touchdown.
Perfect anticipation. I mean, he has nothing to lose. If Texas Tech intercepts it or bats it down, Aaron Green can say, well, I tried my heart out. I tried to anticipate the play. It didn't happen. But now he can say, look what I did, and look what happened, and we won.
Speaking of Aaron Green, he is I'm pretty sure he's doing pretty well in the NFL. I'm pretty sure he's on the Los Angeles Rams. He is on the Los Angeles Rams. I take that back.
All right. So, guys, if the game's close at any time with Oklahoma State at Texas Tech, don't be worried. Oklahoma State will come away with the win. I know Mike Gundy. I know the patterns of their seasons. They're going to come away with the win, whether it's close or not. Northern Illinois versus San Diego State. Northern Illinois beat Nebraska earlier this year.
Yeah, even though they're an okay team.
Yeah, they're kind of overrated to start the season. Now we know that they're not that good. So
and then they looked phenomenal out there.
Yeah, Northern Illinois looked really impressive. So, I mean, I can see why they made this a pick'em game. You have Northern Illinois at San Diego State. San Diego State is kind of surprising everybody this year. 4-0, undefeated, beat Stanford at home, 20-17.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah. I see them. They're ranked number 19 right now.
Yeah, and so the San Diego State team they're decent. They're playing at home against Northern Illinois. I think this game is going to be a couple touchdowns. I think you're looking at 24-10 or 27-14.
Mm-hmm.
So, what do you think?
Let's see. Let's see. San Diego State. Yeah, I'd see San Diego State winning this one. I mean, like just how the way they played has been really good.
Yeah, it's been really consistent and been really good. Yeah, totally agree. And then my last two, guys, I'm going to recommend you guys if you're in confidence, you have to choose the games. Like you can put them at 1 point, 2 points, 3 points, 4 points, 5 points, all the way to 10 points. And obviously 10 points being your most confident pick. So if you're not really sure with the games this coming week, there's two games that I would recommend you keeping low with the point amount because these two games could potentially be upsets. Colorado versus UCLA. UCLA's favored to win this game. And I think they will win the game. I think, Colorado coming off a very tough loss, 37-10 against Washington at home. And now they're going on the road to UCLA, and UCLA's offense is pretty good with Josh Rosen.
Mm-hmm.
He said some things on social media, but I think he's a pretty cool guy, and I think UCLA keeps their pretty cool season going.
Speaking of which, didn't UCLA beat Texas A&M, or was that some other
They
team?
did. They did. They had a miracle comeback win.
They did, yeah.
I'm not going to get into that because we have some A&M fans listening to this show.
Oh, really?
Uh-huh.
I know who.
Yeah. And we have more than that because we have a lot of views so far. So, but I'm not going to get into that, but I am going to get into what I was saying earlier. Josh Rosen's a very good quarterback for UCLA, and I think he's going to do very well in this game. I don't think Colorado will stop him at all. They might slow him down, but not enough. They're playing at UCLA, again, coming off a tough loss. I think UCLA comes away with the win. They're going to want to bounce back after losing 2 games in a row.
Yeah, I mean, revenge is coming. They want to win.
They do. Revenge is coming. And then Cal versus Oregon. And Oregon lost to Arizona State, who lost to Texas Tech, who beat Houston. I'm not going to go into all that. But Oregon doesn't look that impressive. I mean, they're 3-1. But the teams they beat this year have not been really that good. I mean, when they beat Nebraska 42-35, we all thought, oh, Oregon's back. They beat Nebraska. Well, it turns out that Nebraska's not even that good of a team.
Yeah.
And it turns out that Arizona State's just an okay team, and they got upset by 2 points. Okay, upset. Yeah, they could have won the game, Oregon, by a few points, but goodness gracious, it shouldn't even be that close. So, Oregon, I think they're going to get upset in this game against Cal. I think Cal is a better team than what everybody thinks.
Yeah, no. I mean, previously, you picked Oregon to win this game.
But now I'm switching it now.
You know, Cal,
Very interesting team.
Cal, I think it's going to be a sleeper this year.
I think they could be.
Yeah.
I also think Washington State could be a sleeper.
So they're coming in underrated this season, doing really well. Yeah.
I'll get into the Washington State game in a few seconds here. But Cal versus Oregon, I see Cal pulling off the upset. I mean, I know it's at Oregon. Oregon might want to bounce back. I could see either team winning this game. I suggest you guys putting this at 1 point. I don't know who. I mean, Oregon's favored to win this game by 14 points, 13 and a half.
Yeah.
So a couple touchdowns. I don't think they're going to win the game by that much. Definitely not. I think Cal's going to I think they're going to upset Oregon in this game.
I agree.
So yeah, that's what I have for my 10 picks. So once again, I'll kind of do an overview, and then I'll hit Texas and Iowa State for tomorrow night, and then Washington State and USC. So I have Florida over Vanderbilt, Minnesota over Maryland, Georgia over Tennessee, Auburn over Mississippi State, Clemson over Virginia Tech, Oklahoma State over Texas Tech, San Diego State over Northern Illinois, UCLA over Colorado, and Cal over Oregon. So Texas at Iowa State. Gage, what do you think's going to happen in this game?
I'm pretty sure Iowa State's, and they're not that good of a team. Texas is recovering, or I should say they're getting progressively better.
Yeah, they are.
I'm gonna have to pull Texas here, if you agree on this one.
I agree, and I think it's going to be a close game for some reason. I see Texas coming away with the win. I think I can see a couple touchdowns here. I think you're looking at a 28-14 game, maybe 28-17.
If we see the defense on that field against Iowa State, how they played against USC, I'm pretty sure Texas is going to win this one. I mean, they held, the number 4 USC team to 0 points. So 7 points.
Well, yeah, 7 points because of that Hail Mary.
7 points going into halftime. So, yeah. Texas's defense is doing really hard.
Yeah, they're stepping up. They're progressively getting better. And so I think Texas wins the game. I think Iowa State will keep it close. If you remember last year, Iowa State kept it close with a lot of teams that they shouldn't have. I mean, they would lose. Okay, yeah, their record would show it, but they're really a better team than what their record shows. I mean, they'll keep it close, and it might be a nail biter. I don't know, but I think Texas comes away with the win. I think Texas is a team on the rise. I think they are the sleeper team in the Big 12 because TCU obviously now. You know, there's that article coming out. You can't sleep on TCU now. It's too obvious. They're good. Yeah. They are good. And I knew they were going to be good. I thought they were going to be top 3. I didn't think they would beat Oklahoma State. I'll admit that. But I think Texas is a sleeper team this year in the Big 12.
Same, yeah.
And now, Gage, what do you think about it when analysts compare teams? So I'll give you an example. Last year, if you remember in the bowl game, Northwestern ended up beating Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh beat Clemson. And Ohio State beat Northwestern. So you're thinking, oh, okay, well, you're looking at this and saying, well, if this all happened, then Ohio State's going to beat Clemson in that game.
Yeah.
And then Clemson ended up winning the game 31-0. You can't compare teams like that. What do you think about when analysts compare teams like that?
I mean, it's basically saying, like, this small team's going to be they're basically going to favor the big team always.
Yeah, but, like, when they compare teams like that, what do you think they're trying to do? Like, what is the point in doing that? Obviously, they know it depends on how you match up. Any analyst could say, well, I don't know. I mean, they could match up well, they may not match up well, and then they'll give their opinion whether it's a good matchup or a bad matchup for a certain team.
Well, I mean, they're just trying to give their opinion on who's going to win this game. So that's my stand on this.
Yeah. And I don't agree with when analysts try to compare teams like that. You can't do that. And so, and I'll give you one other example.
They do it.
They do it, and I don't agree with it.
Yeah.
But so my point is, here's where I'm going with this. Iowa State, Texas is playing at Iowa State tomorrow night. And so if you look at Iowa State, they almost beat Iowa, who should have beat Penn State. And so you're looking at that, okay, well, then this team's better than the number 4 team, or they're almost as good. No, it's not true. It's because Iowa State and Iowa are rivals. Iowa wasn't ready, as we saw at the beginning of the season. Iowa wasn't ready against North Texas. They weren't ready against Iowa State. So Iowa just didn't come out ready. And then, of course, they show up at home at night against Penn State. So it's like, well, what can we expect? What can you expect? I look for Texas to keep improving, and I look for them to get a win against Iowa State at Iowa State.
Now, do you think Texas will finish ranked?
Yes, I do. I think they'll be between 20 and 25 at the end of the season.
That's exactly what I was going to go for.
Yeah. I think at the very highest, maybe like 17 or 18, depending on what their bowl game finishes as.
To me, or to both of us.
Yeah, they are going to make a bowl game, by the way. I think they will.
They're a rising team.
Yeah.
But it's just like how TCU, their first time in the Big 12, they didn't have a really good
second
season.
year wasn't very good either. The third year was incredible.
Yeah,
Absolutely incredible. And then the fourth year was good again. And then the fifth year was
okay.
Oh, yeah, last year.
And then
2012, 2003, yeah.
And then this year we're going off strong.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the little things.
And then the last game I'm going to hit before the show's over, guys. USC at Washington State. What do you think's going to happen in this game?
Well, I mean, USC is I would say, an overrated team.
I think they are overrated too.
For this one.
And what do you think of Washington State? Because I'm not going to compare teams, but I'm about to do that, but I don't want you to listen to me.
Now, Washington State's going off pretty strong. They're currently 4-0, number 16 in the nation right now. I say they're going to be one of the sleepers in the Pac-12.
Again, it just depends on how you match up. Washington State should have lost to Boise State, who got creamed by Virginia, who's in the ACC, but it's not a very good team in the ACC. Mm-hmm. But we'll see what Virginia does as the season goes along. But I think this Washington State team is looking ahead towards this USC game. They're playing at home. I think they're going to want to beat USC, and I think USC could get upset in this game. I'm not saying it will happen, but I think it could happen.
It's like the entire SEC just wants to beat, at least wants to beat Alabama.
Everyone in the whole nation wants to beat Alabama. But let's keep it on USC here.
Let me get to my point.
Okay.
USC is the probably number one in the Pac-12.
They are, yeah. And then Washington right behind them.
And then everyone
Washington
wants
State.
to beat them. Same as Oklahoma.
And then Washington State's the next best team in the Pac-12 after those two teams.
Everyone wants to beat
the top team in each conference. Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to go for here.
Yeah.
So
what do you think's going to happen?
I would see Washington State battling for that win.
Who comes away with the win?
I say USC is going to win this one.
Score.
I haven't paid attention much of Washington State. I know they're good. They're number 16 in the nation. They're currently undefeated, 4-0, and My score is going to be it's going to be close because Washington State's they want to win, but my score is going to be 38-21.
Woo! So you're seeing a 17-point game here. I'm going to hit you with a little bit of sports sciences for a couple seconds here. Texas scored a late touchdown against USC, and then they couldn't get the defensive stand at the end of the game to pull off the upset, which would have been huge. I thought that game would be close. And so USC couldn't stop Texas at home on that last drive.
Yeah.
And that was a very close game in which they were really getting beat in every facet. I think Washington State's going to stay with them. I don't know if they're going to beat them in every facet, but they're going to stay with them. They're going to keep it close. And guess what's going to happen at the end?
Who's going to
Washington State's going to win 35-31 on a late touchdown.
I think
That's my final score prediction.
Yeah, you're pretty smart. I mean, he's usually the one that they'll be close.
Luke Falk is a very good quarterback for Washington State. I think he gives that USC secondary fits in that case. I think he's going to throw the ball on them all game. I don't think they'll be able to stop them at all. Well, one thing we will have to stop is the talk show. That will be it for today. Again, catch me later in the show with Coach Ryman. I hope you enjoyed this week. We'll see you next Wednesday. And for now, I'm tuning out. I'm Connor Hibbett.
And I'm Gage Laswell.
And this is Panther Nation, and we'll see you next Wednesday.
Peace!
Hey guys, what's up? What's up, Pascal? I'm Connor Hibbett. I'm interviewing head coach, Coach Ryman of the volleyball team. So, Coach Ryman, how are you liking this year?
Well, hey, Connor, thanks for having me. This year's been great so far. There have been a lot of challenges presented. And the girls have really responded in a great way to a lot of challenges that we, quite frankly, didn't see last year. With a veteran group, we have been able to kind of face some of those ups and downs with a lot of grace moving forward.
And that's one of the most important things in sports is once you lose players, you have to get other players to step up in their spot, and they're doing that very well so far.
Absolutely. Again, like I said, we had some adversity kind of midway through the season, and as we opened up district, but we're reaching the halfway point in district, and we've got a really good opportunity tomorrow night against Bowie to put ourselves basically in control of our own destiny. So, the girls they do a great job working hard every day, buying into our process, which is taking things one game at a time. And yeah, we've had some young players start to really settle into their roles.
Do you have any freshmen on varsity?
We do not have any freshmen on varsity. We have 5 freshmen on JV, but we don't have any freshmen on varsity this year.
It's like you said, it's very important to face adversity. That's one thing in every single sport you hear people and analysts say. They have to step up. They have to learn how to face adversity.
Definitely.
And they're doing that so far this year, and with a great win over second place Lamar.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, they worked really hard, and that's one of those games that we kind of played with a chip on our shoulder, quite frankly. Lamar came in as a 4-1 team, second place. They play Martin on Friday, and we knew that they were overlooking us in that game, and we knew that if we went in, controlled the ball, executed our game plan, played with a lot of intensity and focus, that we'd be able to come out with the outcome that we wanted. And again, I think we caught them off guard a little bit.
How are you liking the way this year's team is shaping up compared to last year's?
Well, I typically don't like to compare the two because when you lose players and you add players, it's going to be a different mix no matter what.
And same with other schools; they have a different mix, and we can't compare them like that.
I would say most of the schools in our district have a lot of veteran players coming back, but everybody's playing much differently this year than they did last year. What I can say is I really like the way our team's improving as the year's gone on. I think we played some really tough competition. I actually counted the other day, and we've already faced 16 playoff teams this year.
That's incredible. And
versus last year, at this point, I believe we had played probably about 6 or 7 to this point. So really, really pleased with the competition we faced. And like I said, really pleased with how the girls have responded to some adversity that we've faced this year and continued working hard and just continued to get better so far this season.
And like you said earlier, they're buying into the process. They're getting better one game at a time.
Absolutely.
And that's what you look for overall as a coach is improvement.
Oh, absolutely. That's what we look for. And, starting out district 0-2, we had a tough opener against at Mansfield, and we had to go to Martin right after that. So starting out 0-2 to now be in a 3-3 position with an opportunity tomorrow night to go 4-3. Heading into the stretch, we've done a great job of taking it one game, one day at a time, one game at a time, one play at a time. So pleased to see that so far.
I bet. And I'm not going to stress anything on you, but like Lamar was maybe possibly looking over you guys at Martin. What can you say about you guys not looking ahead to other games and keeping it one game at a time?
Oh, yeah, that's not an option for us. Our whole focus is on whoever's the next team that we're facing. For instance, Arlington Bowie tomorrow night. We know that they've come in and beaten Pascal 5 of the last 6 years. Last year was the first time they haven't beat Pascal, in that stretch of time. So,
and I believe they're 2-11 overall this year.
2-11 overall, but you know what? They're dangerous. They're athletic, and it's one of those things where in our district, any given day, if you let your guard down, somebody's going to come in and beat you.
That's right, and that goes to any sport.
Mm-hmm.
And what can you tell me about volleyball? How's it different than other sports?
Well, I think the pace and the energy in volleyball is so much different, and it's so crucial, that energy. In other sports, you can maybe give it to one player and they can, kind of, fly solo for a little while, whether it's, running the ball, dribbling the ball, whatever it might be. Volleyball, you need 3 players touching the ball every time. So you can't just have a good hitter, you can't just have a good setter, you can't just have a good defender. To me, it's the ultimate team sport. I think our fans have seen in the recent years that it's exciting. It's the fast pace, the energy. You get everybody packed into the tiny CTG. It makes for a pretty fun evening.
And I'm a fan of all sports. That's why I'm doing this talk show. But I think,
by the way, I think this talk show is great. This is good stuff that you've built here.
Well, thank you. And I love volleyball. I really think it's an underestimated sport. What do you think?
Yeah, and it's I actually saw the other day. Research has come out showing that volleyball is one of the fastest growing sports among high schoolers. So I think people are starting to catch on to how exciting the sport can be. I think right now it's only behind track in terms of popularity among girls' sports in high school.
Yeah.
So USA Volleyball's done a great job. The Olympics, that's done a great job in terms of gaining popularity. So I love the fact that my sport is on the rise.
And in today's world, it's so much easier to gain popularity with all the social media and television, different ESPN channels, and volleyball is getting more like.
We've got college volleyball broadcast on Mondays, Wednesdays, and weekends on ESPNU and ESPN2. So it's great exposure for the sport. And
then, of course, I'm watching the SEC Network because my LSU team is on there. And so I get to see, like, volleyball matchups this coming week and stuff like that. I'm like, man, it's really an upcoming sport on the rise.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. But I'm very impressed with you guys so far this year. I've been looking at your stats, and Katie Nance and Riley Parker have done a very good job, and so have the others. I've been hearing about on the announcements, Charlie talking about stats individually. But, yeah, you guys seem to be a really good team, like a good team sport.
Yeah, and they, you know what, our captains, Nance and Parker, they've done a great job leading the group. But I'll tell you what, everybody, we can point back to Tuesday at Lamar. That was a total team effort. That was everybody, every girl on our roster, all 15, doing their jobs, whether they're, playing or not playing. Everybody's bought in. Everybody's encouraging and contributing in an important role to keep us moving in the right direction. And that's what we need in this second half of district tomorrow night, and that's what we need in the second half of district. So I feel really good about the position that this team is in.
And like you were saying about how it's a team sport, most people, when they look at the stats, it's like, oh, this guy had, like, I'm going to go to football because that's my expertise.
Sure.
If a guy had like 15 carries for 175 yards, something like that, it's like, wow, that running back's really good. What about their offensive line? Aren't they opening holes? And if in volleyball, if you don't have a good set, they're most likely not going to be able to have a good spike because they may have to adjust their body and it may not be as strong. And so therefore, in the stands, like, why didn't they spike it better? Why didn't they do something else better? Well, then it's the whole team effort.
It is. It takes the pass, the set, and the hit. And, if you're on serve receive and there's a ball close to the sidelines and as a player you're not sure if you need to play it, and then you've got your bench yelling out or in, and then you either play it or you let it go out of bounds. It truly takes everybody in volleyball. So that's what I love about it.
And for this show to be really good, it truly takes every coach to be on here at least once a week. And, Coach, I really appreciate you being on here.
Not a problem, Connor. Anytime. This has been fun.
Awesome. Maybe I'll see you later this year on the show.
Sounds good. Hey, go Panthers.
Yeah. It's been great having you on the show. For now, I'm Connor Hibbett. I'm tuning out. And go Panthers.